Welcome back. So today I'm going to attempt to make an entire track using Scalar version 2.7. And what I want to do is demonstrate some of the new content that's within Scalar, in particular this 80s pack. This is all new stuff and some of the new sounds that come with this, which is some of the lo-fi sounds and just some of the bass sounds that we've got here as well. For example, orchestral bass. And I think we're going to try and make a SynthWave type song. And so what I've done is I've downloaded some splice drum sets so we can get to that sort of feeling straight away. But let's get straight into it. I'm going to go right into Scalar and going to select one of these 80s sounds. Now, I thought always one of the problems with a system like Scalar is everybody who has Scalar will have these sounds. So let me just see what I'll explain to you what I mean. So let's listen to this. So everyone's going to have these chord sounds in their songs. So you've got to be a bit more creative than just using, just dragging these chords into your song, because your song's just going to sound like all the other people that own Scalar. So you've got to, try something else. So let's just go through and audition some of these different sounds. Now you notice here I'm right clicking so you can loop through the sounds. So that's pretty cool. And just go through this one. And this one here. I think it'll sound a bit more authentic if we use a synth sound. So let's try this one here. Let's try this one here. Let's go through some of more of these other sounds. Okay, so I like some of the chords there. It was a little bit more complex than normal. But as I said, I'm not going to use them in this order. Let's start with the C sharp because we know that that's going to be the root chord. But we can try listen to see if there's any other chords that go second rather than this one here. So let's listen. Because they all go well together, right? So let's bring that one there in. All right, so let's just listen to that on a loop. Now, in my settings, I've got that loop set to 2 beats because at 4 beats, I thought it was just a bit too much. So we just set that to 2 beats. So it's not too bad, but I think it's too happy sounding. So let's just move that E sus out of the way and try it this way here. So that doesn't go there. We just try this now. So that A doesn't go. So we'll move to, what other chords do we have? Let's try one of these other chords in here that are suggested. Let's try G sharp minor. That's way better. So and let's see if we can end with A major. Now let's listen to that. That's pretty nice. That's not too bad at all. So excellent. I think we've got something there. So what we're going to do now is duplicate the scalar. Just going to go back to the first one. And I'm going to sync the two instances together. So we just click on this live sync piece. So that's the leader. So we're going to just go into the second instance, which should say follower next to it. So let's try a different instrument. I'm going to try I don't know. Let's try one of those new lo-fi sounds. Where is it? Here we go, lo-fi. Let's give that a go. Let's do some door syncing here. There you go. So we've just got door syncing, so I can just press space to get it working. So I don't know what happened to the sound there. Let's just go back to the first one again. Solo that. That's better. It's a bit of a learning curve. So we've got the door sync on, which is how I like to use it. Now let's click on the perform mode. Let's try some of this new avant-garde content, which came with version 2.7. It's a bit fast, so we can just reduce the tempo of that. So we can go back to that in a second. I'm just going to copy and duplicate that and create another Scalar instance. Now we need to go back to the first one to sync it because it's not automatically syncing all of them. So we just sync. We'll just stop live sync and re-sync and refresh. So the other two instances are connected. So that's cool. So we've got this one here. And what I want now is a bass line. So we're just going to select a bass instrument, which we just select a chorus bass for a SynthWave song. So under perform, we need to select performances and bass. And so it's going to either be running towards whatever the chord notes are or the scale. In this case, we can choose either. We just see how they sound. So this is following. So let's see how they sound. So we'll select the SynthWave bass lines. So I think the octave is a bit low. So we're just going to go into here on the pattern. So we're going to go here in the editor. Sorry if I jump around a little bit. It's just I don't use this too often, to be honest. But let's go back here. So just increase the octaves for all. We can change some of the octaves so they could be lower if they sound better. So let's just take a listen. See, that one there is too high. So we're just going to reduce that one. Once again, too high. Excellent. So we have a pretty basic kind of chord thing going. We can just select scale to see if that sounds better. So it's really just about trying stuff out. Faster? Nah. So let's try different SynthWave options. They all actually sound pretty similar to me. That's super cool. So what we're going to do is go into Humanize now. So we want to humanize by either changing the velocity, not changing, humanizing it so it's kind of not like the same velocity per note, and timing so it's not quite on the note. We can just choose both here, and that's what I like to choose. So it's just a little bit out. We'll leave quantize and swing. I think in this case here, I think we're just going to choose a velocity, not the timing, because I think it needs to be metronomic. So we'll just go back to that second melody channel. So not quite enamored by that avant-garde sound. So why don't we try and select a different one? We can try different performance options. I do think maybe with SynthWave an arpeggio might sound better. Let's try a different sound. The lo-fi sound's not really working here, so we'll go back to the synth sounds. Let's audition some of these. It would be so cool if I could actually modify the sound a bit, because I like the sound, but it's a little bit too full sounding. But let's just try different sounds. That's not too bad actually, so I think we'll just keep that one there. I was just messing around to see what other options we had. Let's get some humanization on the velocity of both of these. So I like that. That's sounding pretty nice. So I think the next thing we want to do is just bring a drum beat in. I just want to hear what it sounds like with some of these drum loops that we downloaded today. They might be a bit loud, but let's just hear what they sound like. No, I don't like that one. Let's try this one here. Don't really like that one either. Let's just give this one a go. This one. So that one's better, but there's some percussion in there I don't like. I don't like that percussion, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And that, I'm just going to Control J, we're just going to create our own loop and loop that sound like that. Just change the color. That didn't work. That did not work. I'm not sure what happened there, so we'll just go again. That's better. Now at this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start replacing some of the sounds. So this one here is a bass sound. So let's just extract that MIDI. It's coming from here. So we're just going to MIDI capture this baby. Let's drag it into a new track. So we're going to drag all of this into a new track like that. And we're going to bring Repro in because that's really cool for SynthWave. It's a UHE plugin. They're expensive, but sometimes they have sales for Repro. So it's going to undo the Scalar piece. Let's get rid of those very loud drums. Select this funk one. Similarly with the this lead melody thing, I'm going to get rid of that as well. Well, not get rid of it. I'm just going to extract the MIDI elements. And so nice to see all those little notes there. Once again, we'll just go with Repro again, and we're going to select a preset that might sound good. I don't know. So we can try a few synth presets. Change the sounds there. That's a bit too aggressive for SynthWave. It's just some of these instruments have a lot lower sort of sub sounds. Now finally, let's just take these just chords, I guess, and bring the bass chords into the track as well. So there they are. And I've got a saved patch for Diva, which could sound good here. Let's just give that a go. I think we need to slow the song down a bit as well. So I think at this point, Scalar's done its job. I could remove the tracks, but what I like to do is just make sure that they're muted, because you never know when you need to go back to Scalar. But one thing I've noticed in terms of the arrangement, it's a bit boring the way it is at the moment. And because it's SynthWave, we want that sort of tension coming in. So we're going to copy just that first bar like that and duplicate that. And instead of the actual drum and snare coming in on the sample, I'm just going to get rid of this piece here, and all of this. I'm going to just repeat that sort of kick sound, just to do that. And we just keep bringing that in. Maybe we just change it in the middle there So let's just see how that sounds. There's not enough of that, so we're just gonna do it like that. And just duplicate time. Just have it 4 times. We don't need that arpeggiator piece at the beginning. But what we can do with the repro arpeggiator is we can blend the filter cutoff. So just take the cutoff like that and start with no sound really on the cutoff. If it's really low like that, you won't get a sound. And then just introduce that. So like this. Similar with the Diva. So with the Diva, we got we'll start with a really low cutoff. Just bring it back to its normal position there. Maybe with Diva we need the actual chords as well. So we just go like that. Now I'm thinking now that the bass patch is too slow. Even though the song is slow, the bass patch is too slow. So we just go in and make it faster, but that's not going to help. Let's do it this way. Let's try that. Yeah, that's better. So the good thing is Scalar's worked out all the chords and the bass lines for me. So it's just really easy then just to go in and do that sort of editing. Let's do that. Those kicks are sounding like crapola. They've got this really shitty sort of sound. I'm not sure where it's coming from. They work in the drum loop, it works, but by itself it doesn't. There's this kind of tail sound that doesn't sound good. We'll just get rid of all of that. And just reintroduce it. I knew that would happen. So just reintroduce it. It's still got that kind of noise sound, which I don't like, but yeah, we can change everything later. Well, that's not what I wanted at all. That's the wrong beat. So let's just bring in a different drum loop here. I think we had in Splice, it may have been this one. That's the one. I just didn't like that percussion sound. We'll just get rid of that again. What is missing is hi-hats. They're definitely missing. So I'm going to introduce another audio track. Just see if we can just find some standard hi-hats loops. Nothing too complex. Let's try that one. So that's not hitting in the middle, so I'm just going to change the starting position. We just want to make that hi-hat a bit crispier. Just put an imager on it. We can put that imager on the actual beat as well. No, we won't. We're going to do a return track because we don't want imager on the low end of the beat. We just need to kill the low end. So put it in a return track and we just kill all that low end. So we just want the top end of the imager to be applied into the drum loop. So we just do that, just blend it in. Nice. So right now, what this track desperately needs is a bit of variation. So there's two things I'm going to try, and I've been doing this a lot lately. I'm going to bring the auto filter into play. I'm going to try it on a few different instruments. Okay, so we're going to modulate that frequency filter and the resonance filter, and I'm going to do that by using this follower tool. It's called an envelope follower. Just bring that, and we're going to assign that to either the drum loop or the hi-hat. Either one will do. So I think we can experiment by starting with the drum hat, and with the envelope follower. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see how I love using this and how it works really well with auto filter. So here we go. Okay, so that's your auto filter. We're going to map that to this, to the synths. So we're just going to do that now. Just map that to this. So it's going from 0 to 100 because that's the range that it's set to. And similarly, I'm going to do another mapping here to the resonance. Now, before we listen to it, I'm just going to reduce the floor point and the ceiling just a little bit. Let's just take a listen. Okay, so let's just try and change some of those numbers. Now I really like that, but I still need that synth sound in the background. So I'm going to just duplicate that and take the auto filter off of this other track. So we still have that nice paddy synth sound. So let's try it also on the bass. This is a bit riskier. It's a bit riskier, but it sometimes works really well. We'll just go back to that. We'll just map this is the bass. I should really rename this to bass so I don't keep trying to second guess what that is. So this one's bass, and we have placed the auto filter against the wrong track. So I've just put it here against this track, and we're just going to map. So it's waiting to be mapped. Just mapped that to the filter, and I'm going to go back and map this one here to the frequency. To the resonance here. And once again, we just need to just make sure those values are sensible. Otherwise, it's going to sound messy. And let's try that. Okay, so at this stage here, we want to do some side chaining, and I'm going to be lazy and bring in this kickstart on basically every single track. We want that drum piece to really kick through here. Now, if we just go back to what I said before with the initial part of the song. That synth sound is still sounding a little bit boring. So what we can do here is go in and just make it really retro sounding. And the plugin to do that is called the RC20 Retro Color. Just going to get some color into our lives. There's a few really cool presets here. NHS. VHS is cool. So let's just listen to that in solo. And without. So it just sounds so retro, really. A lot of that's due to the wobble. So we can just increase the wobble. It's too much wobble. There's also wow and flutter we can try. But VHS really works just really well. We just don't want too much of it, so we just reduce the magnitude. And we also want the high end to pop out a bit more. Maybe we can use this unused auto filter to help with that. Why don't we just try a bit of LFO movement as well? We can try, quantizing it. Just do a phase offset here. And Diva's got some really nice internal effects. I think that would definitely change the way, the texture of this song. So, and similarly, the bass is pretty weak at the moment. So what we can do is add this saturator, which is called I always forget the name of it. Decapitator. So we just bring that decapitator before or after the kickstart. We just do it after the kickstart. So the decapitator will just really bring. Let's listen to it with and without the decapitator. We'll select the E mode because the other ones are really harsh sounding. So we really like that big sound, but it's going to clip the shit. So we just need a standard clip, just to make sure it doesn't really clip, overtly clip. Do a hard clip at 2. We'll start with 2. So it's still loud, but it's not going to clip too much. I just want to take some of the low cut out. Increase the tone. Now let's listen to the difference. We can push it a bit more. So right now I'm feeling a bit of a boring, repetitious type of chord structure. And I think the reason for that is we really just want 4 chords, not 8 chords. So it sounds weird to say that 4 chords are more interesting than 8, but there's a reason for that. And I think it's because you want to move from the 4 to the 8. So let me just duplicate the time here and let's see how that sounds. So once again, I'm not going to lose this information. So I'm going to cut this section. I want to lose it from the song, but I don't want to lose the information. So I'm just going to cut that piece and just stick with that first chord and repeat that first chord twice, and that third chord, repeat that third chord twice. Just hopefully that's more interesting sounding. And then we just repeat back to the beginning of the loop. So just listen to that. So at this stage here, we do need a more interesting bass sound. So what I'm going to do is just take that. I'm just going to group them together by consolidating them together like that. And just take the second, either the second or the second last item, and press Control up. Sorry, is it Shift up? Yep, Shift up. And do that kind of funky sound thing. So we just try that here as well. And we can transition between the two. It's not transitioning very well at the moment. Okay, so we've got this kind of note in the middle that transitions between the two chords. And just to create a little bit even more interest, we can change the position of some of these, so it's not quite so obvious when you hear the sounds. It doesn't always work. So I like that rhythm. It could work in other parts of the song. You just copy that rhythm and you just put it where you want to. So we're just going to fold that so we can see where the original notes were, but we can just move those there. And similarly with these, you can just move them down like that. And just to create even more interest, the notes don't really have to follow the chord, so you can move some of the notes so they create even more tension. So almost, it's not quite right. Let's try that one. And just put them together just to do, just to see how they look in context with the other chords. And let's listen to that. I'm not quite sure why I can't hear them when I move them. They should be able to do that. Anyway. Anyway, the idea is a transition note. Can't hear a thing now. Let's try that. So I'm still not happy with the sound of that preset, but luckily with Repro you can do loads and loads of changes. So we're just going to loop through this section and just solo this. Just increase the glide because that might help here as well. So once you get the sound you want, you have to remember that I've actually done an overlay of different bass sounds. So we just want to make sure that they're identical really. So we'll just copy that across like that. And now let's take a listen. So that section needs to be repeated because that is a verse section, the way I see it. So in fact, I would actually place that verse. I should really name this whole section, to be honest. That's fine. I'm just going to take all of that and press cut. No, not cut. Copy. Can we copy? Yep, copy. And place it right here just before the main chords come in. So I've got the verse chords in that point in time. Whoops. Put them there. There, please. Put them there, please. Put them right at the top. Got these scalars open in the background. I'm just going to paste. It's annoying. So we're just going to have to copy all that again and paste it here. With live, you've got to go to the top track to do your pasting, and it's still not working. I'm not sure what's going on. Again. Copy. Paste time's not available. We have to do copy time, cut time. I don't know why. And at this point here, we want paste time. There you go. Which is a little bit annoying, but we could just paste time here as well. So we just bring it back to where it was. So let's listen to how it sounds together again. So that's nice in terms of the arrangement, but I'm not enamored with that little synth sound. That's better. So once we get to that point, we need to break the song back down, get a bit more quiet again. So what's better to do than just to bring the intro back at this point here. So something's not right with, oh, the chords. There you go. The chords are, yes, so I don't like the chords at the intro either. There's not enough tension in those chords. So what we're going to do is just chop them. We're going to just experiment a bit and see what we get. That's not too bad, actually. Let's just use those chords here in that quiet section that we wanted before. Just make sure the chords are the same. That's better. Now, just like in most of my songs, I like to have a little break section just to break the song up a bit. I'm just going to do something like this. Let's see how that sounds. So in between each section change, you just put a bit of space in between the two sections, and that space will just help the listener. I'm just going to press 0 here. It just helps the listener know that there's a change coming, and there's other things that help the listener understand things like that, and they are normally things like let's just put another one here. Normally things like transition movements as well as risers. In fact, this is a good time to put a riser in. So just listen to the different transitions. And fills are good. So we're just going to create our own sort of basic fill sound here. Just do that. No idea how that's going to sound. And let's do some, just duplicate the end, the tail, or just even the last transient of the beat, just so you've got that continuation between the two. And then I don't know how this is going to sound either. Let's listen. Not good. So we just bring that transient back in here. The transient, I think that's a kick. Let's try that. No, but it's not too bad. It could be worse. Just bring in all that. Right, so we've done all that. We're going to just do some. Now I've got I'm going to do some more transitions. I've got the sample pack here with loads of really cool transitions. It's VND, and you can, everyone's got their own samples, but I just tend to use these. If you've seen some of my other videos, I tend to use the same ones. I just like the way it's all organized, to be honest. So where are we going to go? As soon as I say that, I can't find it. I can't find anything. So let's go with a riser. No. Let's go with an uplifter. Yeah, so they call them uplifters just to be different, I guess. Now they've got two types. They've got long and short uplifters and some weird ones. I just want a short one. That's way too long. That's even longer. Just want a little short one. I wish these samples could tell you how long the bloody thing is. I don't know if you can actually, like, minutes or seconds, because that would really, really help. Let's try. This is a bit shorter. It's not a sample that I particularly like, but we only have a certain amount of time to do this, so let's just put a riser in. It's Complex Pro, HQ. Once again, I don't know why that's not default. It's probably something I can change myself, but everything needs to be HQ, everything. So just bring that in like that, and just do that. I mean, there's other ways you can create risers. You can create them from instruments. In fact, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna firstly use this one and just make sure it lines up. First thing I'm gonna do that. This one here, so we just have a bass riser, and once you've set it up and you've got the volume levels right, you can just keep reusing it. Maybe that was a bit too short. Let's just bring a Valhalla vintage verb into this and kickstart. So once you've set the riser up, you can use it all over the basically everywhere. You can use it in all the tracks. Sorry, in all the parts of the song. So let's just make sure it's nice and lined up. We can use it here. And here. And at the end of the song. And what's really good about the riser is you can actually use it like that. If you press R, you can reverse it and it still sounds pretty cool. So you can use it in the middle of the verse like that, so just to give it a bit more impetus into the song. Maybe not so loud. And the other thing you could do, which I really like, it's kind of almost like let's get rid of this here. It's almost like a replacement for hi-hats. If you go in and go to beats mode on the riser and then go in like that, just to get the transient loop node like that, the envelope just reduced to this. Not like that. Actually, that's something I'll need as well. So that's like if you listen to this, it's like a clap sound. No, it's not. It's not without a reverb. So we just need the reverb in there. So I like that sound, but I'm going to use that elsewhere. But where it can become really useful is just listen to solo this again and change the transients to a 16th note like that. So it just adds a bit of rhythm inside of the song, right? And in fact, we could take it on an empty track like this, and it's coming out. Actually, let's just get rid of this Valhalla. It sounds like a hi-hat, doesn't it? So, but we are not going to use a hi-hat like that because we already got hi-hats in the song. So in the middle there, we're just going to add a little synth 80s clap sound. That's pretty cool. Let's just make it just a touch louder. We can just add that anywhere. Once you right click on medium, you can just take that position, and that position will just sound good in the whole song. So for example, we want it there. Just make sure it lines up to the beginning of the bar. It will sound good there. See what I mean? It just sounds good everywhere because it lines up with the tempo of the song. Time for a drink. That's good. So one thing I think I'd like to do now is bring in a real big synth melody. So we're going to go back to our little friend Scalar and duplicate this. I should have probably done this at the beginning, but I got excited and I wanted to create the song. So just go in. See, hopefully we haven't lost anything. It's not a follower, so we just need to go back to the first one and resync. Okay, so you should say 3 instances, so that's synced now. No, it is not synced, and that is because I actually did not resync it. I just refreshed it, so we will resync the thing here. Stop and restart. Well, hopefully that's gonna be synced. Follower, like it. So we're going to have to listen to them all kind of together, all the scalars together. So on this one here, we want some different articulations. What can we use? Let's use melody or sequences. We'll try melody first. Let's try one of these motif ones. We want a synth sound on that. Let's make it faster. You know what? That one will do. I think that's a pretty big and interesting sound. Once again, we're gonna just drag all this. Is it gonna work? Yes. I'm gonna drag this to a new, if I can. What have I done? I've done something wrong here. We just wanna stop that. So we're just gonna drag all this across to that nice MIDI goodness. Just drag that into a track. So we've captured all that really lovely MIDI. But what we can do is, I just want to make sure that they're all playing in the kind of the same octave. We can change all this later. The sound was pretty big. I like that sound, but I want to use my trusty sounds in Diva. And there's another synth that I use sometimes called Tau Togu, Tau U. So this one's a really nice, simple sounding synth. It's very analog sounding, and I don't remember how much it cost, but it wasn't too expensive. And you don't get as much control as Repro or Diva, but you can pretty much create any sound on this. And it has kind of these old Juno, it has a Juno sound to it, if you like that sound. And I like it. So for example, we can instantly make it sound better by adding chorus. So let's see how it sounds with the song. So we're going to just get that pitch up by 12. I like using this pitch tool because I can just always go off, switch it off and on just by clicking a button. So we can just reduce that sub noise. Add some noise there. So you get those two choruses. I like the second one for this one actually. So we had a Valhalla, there it is, and a kickstart. We just copy those into this track here. I'm going to just duplicate this now. It's not lining up, isn't it? And that is because of I've put them in the wrong position. So I think it goes more in the chorus than this sort of. So remember, I chopped up the positions of those. So I just want to listen to it in the chorus. Going to take that synth sound out. Let's try it this way. So I've just heard something that I liked, and I'm just going to duplicate this track. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff here, and I'm going to flatten this track, freeze the track, then flatten it. So I'm just going to do that. Just bring that sound in. So we've got the MIDI track and we have an audio version of that MIDI track just below it. So we just actually sorry, I just dropped my microphone. So we just listen to that audio track. Let's just listen to it by itself. That's gold. That's good. So I can just repeat that little reverb section, and I think that's going to sound pretty good. They're all defaulting to beats. Warp mode, just change them all to Complex Pro. And we can just start changing the pitch. And just change this one here as well. I'm just going back and bringing them back to beats mode again, as I had another idea. So these beats aren't sounding great, but I'm just going to leave them. I'm just going to duplicate, and you can just see that I'm going to just increase the amount of repetition that there is on that beat until it sounds mental. Just make it sound mental there at the end. And we already have that transition there, but we can bring another transition in here just to get it to sound nice and cool. And we can bring that other scalar instance here. So if we just remember that I did actually freeze the entire scalar thing segment there. So let's just listen to that build up. And it's just, why is that so soft? It doesn't matter. We can also duplicate those as well and bring them in. And then we can revert back to that chorus. I think we've gone a bit overboard with the reverb here. Yeah, just. So we can revert back to the chorus. So I'm just going to select that entire chorus section there, press Control L to select all of it. And let's just, yeah, so we just bring it back into this section here. Oops. And the reason I created another audio track is because, I want to reuse some of that magic I did with the kick. I wouldn't call it magic, but it's that kind of rising, building up section. And I want to use it here. Can I? Yeah. I can use it here. I don't need all of it because there's already kick in the sample, but I can bring it in at this point here. Obviously, we'll need to match the volumes there. So just match it like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to before I conclude this video, I've got to tell you that there is zero EQ on any of the tracks. There is no compression on any of the tracks, and there's nothing on the master chain. Even though you see something there, it's switched off. So I'm kind of mixing as I go, But this song is nowhere near mixed, it's nowhere near mastered, and the arrangement needs, as you can tell, quite a bit of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just EQ, and I'm just going to do some light EQ and compression in little bits and pieces and some light limiting and mastering. I'm going to make the song available for you guys to listen in Ableton and listen in SoundCloud, and I'll also make this a project that you can download. Now, the thing I need to caveat is, as you can tell, I'm using a lot of different instruments and effects that don't come with Ableton. So you're going to, if you don't have these instruments or effects, you're going to have to replace them with something else. So it may not work out of the box. But what I can do is also provide a link to all of the WAV files. So you'll have not just the Ableton project, but you'll have all of the WAV files in this link. And I'll keep them separate because you may want one or the other. You may not want to download the entire thing. So, okay, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think of this workflow. Scalar is so helpful for any type of genre. And I don't really make a lot of SynthWave. I just wanted to show you that I could, because I had Scalar and I had all these sort of interesting elements in Scalar that gave me that inspiration to do it. So until next time, I really, really appreciate your patience with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, bye.